The Sweet Sound of Success show is brought to you by the Mentor Studio. The Mentor Studio is an exclusive mentoring and training program for social influencers, business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, and startups, bringing personal development to the underserved around the world. And brought to you by Success Strategists. Simple strategies that work to develop your business with flow and ease using proven strategies and the right tactics. This is the Sweet Sound of Success with Sue Wilhite, Success Attraction Expert. Transformational Life Coach, international best-selling author, speaker, and podcaster, and founder of Katalyst Coaching, spelled with a K. Katherine Loranger asserts the bold and determined that life is there for the creating. For over 25 years, Katherine has been driven to spark lasting, heartfelt transformation for fearless and fierce souls in progress, working to research, study, and implement results-oriented principles and programs to incredible success. Through her evocative and expertly guided series of vision building and life mastery classes and workshops, heart-centered entrepreneurs, organizational leaders, and dreamers learn to realign their efforts and energies with their soul's purpose to design, build, and realize their wildest dreams. They get to ignite a world of limitless possibilities and change the direction of their lives and their businesses and their relationships for the better. Please welcome Katherine Loranger.
Hello, Sue. Oh my gosh, you are the best bio reader ever. Thank you so much for that amazing welcome. And thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show. I'm really grateful and honored and super excited to dive into your topic.
Oh, well, Katherine, as I told you, the minute that I saw your podcast, I knew we had to get together because Hero's Journey rocks.
It, oh, doesn't it ever? Doesn't it ever?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some,
go ahead.
I say we've got some simpatico going on here.
Yeah. However, not everybody knows. It's inconceivable to me, but not everybody knows who Joseph Campbell is and what the hero's journey is all about. So, for those of you in my audience who have managed to not be exposed to this, Joseph Campbell was a mythologist who, among other things, wrote a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And he put together what he observed as a cycle of what he called the hero's journey. Now, there are 16 steps on that cycle. We're not doing this. We're not doing all of that, right? Deep breath. We're only doing 5 because I like these 5 for the entrepreneurial journey. And the 5 pieces are the ordinary beginning, the call to action, the big hairy monsters, which sometimes end up being part of the call to action. So we don't always necessarily get to peel those apart. And then the 2 things that I think are really important for entrepreneurs and their hero's journey. And that is allies, mentors, coaches, guides, Gandalf's, Dumbledore's, even Sam's, who are there to help you along the path, help you along the way, give you clues, guideposts, give you energy, whatever it is. Because entrepreneurs, I hate the phrase, I hate the word solopreneur, because it isn't. It can't be. There's got to be somebody else there with you, or it's really hard. Really hard. And then finally, part of the reason that it might be a little hard is what Joseph Campbell calls the journey home. And the journey home has to do with after you as an entrepreneur have accepted your first dollar or yen or euro or whatever currency it is that you've accepted, a bag of rice or a chicken, doesn't matter. If you have accepted payment for your work, for something that you produced, you are forever changed. It's magic. You have gone through a process that other people in your surrounding community may never have encountered before, and they don't have a clue. And so some of them are like, wow, you did that? That's really cool. Rah, rah. Some of them are not quite so happy about it or accepting of it. And so, how do you deal with that journey home? What does that look like? So, Katherine, what was your ordinary beginning?
Sue, I have to say, I freaking love this topic. I love this topic, and I will talk about my ordinary beginning. And so I've been studying transformation, spirituality, self development, growth for over 25 years. I have a master's in counseling, actually grew a multiple seven-figure business. I've been like president of my chamber of commerce. I've developed and facilitated provincial leadership programs. So this is a topic I am so passionate about. And it wasn't actually, even in my journey of self-development, transformation, and growth and expression on this planet, some of the greatest lessons and most profound growth happened in the context of entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I say this to people with the greatest respect, and I know it to be true for myself, is that we are the limiting factor in our business. Our mindset, our belief in ourselves, our confidence, our willingness to face our shadows, our willingness to be really honest about, wow, I'm not really very good at that, right? Our mindset, what we believe is possible, what we believe we're capable of. So entrepreneurialism, that whole journey, I believe, is one of the richest, or and not that everybody takes this bent on it, but provides an opportunity to have the richest growth in your life. And so I'm, yeah, just thrilled to talk about
Amen.
this. Right, we're preaching to the choir here, preaching to the
Yahoo!
choir here. So ordinary beginning, I think I was thinking about that, and I think that none of us has an ordinary beginning. None of us does. Like we might think it's ordinary, but it's only ordinary because it's what's familiar to us. And so what I might consider to be my ordinary beginning, somebody else might be like, well, that's kind of a little bit out there, right? Or I might hear someone else's ordinary beginning. I was listening to some of some of your other guests, and I was like, wow, that's not an ordinary beginning at all. And so so I guess I'll share a little bit about kind of my beginning. I have been in kind of the entrepreneurial and self-development space most of my life. My first job was feeding my neighbor's chickens. My family actually homesteaded in the middle of the bush on northern Vancouver Island. It was boat access only. We lived in this 100-year-old log cabin. We grew most of our own food. We hunted, we fished, right? And we had one neighbor. There was one other neighbor. And my first paid job was to feed their chickens when they were away. And they had the meanest, nastiest rooster. And we know this because we had its brother,
Right.
and we were not allowed to feed the chickens unless we went in with a 2x4 and steel-toed rubber boots. And so that's my quote unquote ordinary beginning. But probably most people listening are thinking that is not very ordinary at all, right? And so there's always been an interest in entrepreneurialism, and I didn't really necessarily know what that was, but I kind of skirted around it. And in university, won business plan competitions and was involved in startups, and then finally really followed my desire to become a counselor. So I got my master's in counseling. Really had that deep desire to help people, support people to grow and become, and also heal my own experiences and wounds, right? Because I think
Right.
that's part of why we're drawn to the work, is because we've got unresolved things.
Yeah.
And it was when I met my husband, and he was an entrepreneur. and was kind of a quote unquote solopreneur at the time. And we decided to join forces and work on this venture together. And so we actually grew a multiple 7-figure industrial construction company together.
Wow.
Yeah. And here's where we get into the kind of call to action a little bit. So part of the work that I do is really helping and supporting people to tune into their heart and soul's whisper, their heart and soul's calling, their yearning about what it is that they want to bring to this world, how they want to express their precious gifts, what they want to do with this life force that they've been given. And so in the context of that business, there was a piece, there were pieces where I was ignoring that call within myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? And I
Yep.
think
Yep.
pretty much everybody can relate to that, where there's this little whisper like, oh, like, okay, is this really what you want to be doing? And I was playing this when then game with myself, like, oh, when the business does this,
Right.
then I'll go do this. When my husband can do it by himself, then I'll go do this. And I bought into this idea. I was giving permission to the circumstances in my life, the conditions, the surroundings, the environment. I was giving permission to those things to dictate how I showed up. I was making agreement with those. And so the call to action, or the big hairy monsters, are kind of related. Is we had a major client who owed us a lot of money and they went bankrupt.
Ooh. Ooh. Ow.
Ouch. Yeah. And so when you're an entrepreneur, and I know your listeners are going to get this, you put everything you have in, right? Especially when you're at a certain size. And when I say multiple 7-figure, it's like, ooh, that seems really impressive. And you're like fully leveraged, right? Like you have put everything in, your heart, your soul, your resources, your assets to grow to that point. And this was a multiple $100 million company anyway that went bankrupt. And what I noticed in that process is that I had had this belief as an entrepreneur, because I don't have an MBA, I didn't, go to kind of official business school, that maybe I don't quite know what I'm doing here.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel that way. And especially when you have a passion, right? And you start your business because you're passionate about whatever it is, your service, your product that you're selling or producing or bringing to the world. That's what you're passionate about. You're not maybe passionate about like accounts receivable and cash flow management and HR and marketing and right.
Right.
That's all the stuff you got to figure out. And so I had this perception that, oh, the people who have the CPAs or the MBAs or the whatever's, like, they actually know what they're doing,
Right.
but I don't quite know what I'm doing, even though we've had this result.
Right.
And when that happened, it was this like, wait a minute, like they actually don't really know what they're doing either, apparently.
Yep.
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 Right. And I think as entrepreneurs and business owners, and this is something that I'm very open about my experience with it, because I think there's this belief or this feeling of shame, or this belief that we have to put up as a business owner, entrepreneur, this like happy story or this front, right? You're kind of fronting. How are things? Oh, they're great. Things are amazing. Things are right. And so you've got the kind of front of house. And then on the back side, you don't want people to know that you're like, how am I going to pay my people? Or, I don't know about this client, or how am I going to get this contract? So there's
Look
this
behind the curtain.
totally, right? And so there's this kind of, not that it's a disconnection, but it's this inability or perceived inability to be able to really bring your full self forward, right? Because you don't want people to think like, oh, they don't know what they're doing in their business, or their business is going down, or they don't have it going on. So I just talked a lot there, and Sue, I want to give you a moment to get a word in edgewise.
Hey, this is kind of your show. One of the reasons that I do this is because I love hearing people's stories. And so the what I'm hearing though is that the big hairy monster was perception.
Mm-hmm.
It was two kinds of perception. One was you're not good enough, right? It's what I've sort of paraphrased what Louise Hay calls something else, but I call it two syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too ignorant in this particular case, right? I don't have I'm too undereducated,
Yeah,
right?
that imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, right? It's
Mhm.
not okay for you to do this. And um that something else has to happen before you can move forward, which is
Mhm.
which is one of the biggest anchor blocks on the planet. I mean, that is the concrete,
Mhm.
boat anchor with the 45-inch chain attached to it
Yeah.
that keeps people stuck.
100%, 100%.
Right,
And I'm so grateful for that experience. And I know that it was life answering me, right? It had been whispering, whispering, whispering. I kind of joke like I actually have a flat spot. I was born with a flat spot on my head. And I joke that I'm like, I'm coming to this planet and I'm going to do it the hard way, like bang, 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 right? And
right.
so life had been whispering, like, Catherine, you actually, this is not like, yes, there's lots to be grateful for, right? There's lots to be grateful for. And I actually loved being in business with my husband. It really, our marriage grew exponentially as a result of the choices that we made about how we communicated and how we supported each other.
Yes.
And yet it wasn't what I really wanted to do, and it wasn't how I wanted to serve the world. And I kept ignoring it.
Yeah.
I kept ignoring it. And life was like, okay, I'm going to turn up the volume. Here we go. We're turning up the volume, and we hear that you want to do something else. And this is the fastest way. We're just going to like clear the table
Two
and
by
let the cards fall where they may.
Yes, yes. The divine 2x4 comes down and smacks you across the head.
100%. Yes. Like I said, I came in with a flat spot. So,
Yep, yep. I call it
yeah.
getting boot marks in your back too. Like shove
Yeah.
forward. Oh wait, what?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going to do that.
Yeah. And I think that, Sue, that's one of the biggest tragedies of life is to live an unrealized life,
Well,
right?
that's
To
that's the
to
quote from Joseph Campbell.
right, and to make agreement with those anchors, those limiting paradigms, those limiting beliefs, those limiting thoughts, where we tell ourselves, well, I'll have to wait until, or I need to give, or I look to things around me for permission. So I look to other people's perception, or I look to my history or my past or my education or my bank account. And we look to all of these things outside of us, asking them to give us permission, but they will never give us permission.
Right, right.
We have to take the action. It is us.
Yes,
And we are the hero of our journey, and everyone is the hero.
yes, yes.
Everyone is the hero. And are you going to answer the call?
Yes,
Are you going
yes.
to answer the call? Are you going to wait for the 2x4?
Trust me to answer the call. I used to
Right? Yes. Pick up the phone.
trust me, answering the call is a heck of a lot better than waiting for the 2x4 to hit you,
Yeah,
because
100%.
waiting for the 2x4 to hit you is going to be a whole lot messier.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I'd rather take charge and do it my way without having to clean up the mess
Yeah.
that the universal 2x4 creates. It's like, oh, you want me to do that? Okay. Huh. Is that in alignment? Yeah, I feel a really strong pull that direction. Okay, let's go. Let's do
Mm-hmm.
it. I don't know what the result is going to be, and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be successful. I would love for it to meet my goal. And Catherine, I bet you have encountered this both in your own life and in your client's life. 90% of the time, the result is something else that leads you to what you really wanted to do.
even greater still. And that's something that
Right.
I work with my clients with is you start with the vision, right? And with the hero's journey, the vision is the map, right? The vision
Yes.
is what would I love to create, and not what do I think I could create, what does my family say, but like let's really take the time to tune into my heart and soul. What would I love to create? Like if money was no object, if time, if education, like if I had a magic wand, what would I love to create? And when you give yourself permission to really tune into that, you start to get clues and glimpses of your heart and soul's desire for your life, right?
Right.
And you create that vision, and then you take the steps, you answer the call, and you do it afraid. You do it afraid because your fear is there, right? If you wait until you feel ready, you're never going to feel ready.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. If
Hmm.
Dorothy had sat in Munchkin land, she never would have made it.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, she had to take that trip,
Hmm.
had to meet the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion and the witch
Hmm.
and deal with all of that and the flying monkeys and the wizard who was hiding behind, the curtain, because otherwise she couldn't have gotten home.
Yeah.
And if she had gone, oh, I'm going to wait for somebody to rescue me.
Hmm.
Eh.
Yeah. That's really I think you make such an important point there, Sue. When we're waiting for someone to rescue us, we're giving our power away.
Absolutely.
We are the ones that need to rescue ourselves. And we don't need to do it alone. So we are the ones who have to take the action. We're the ones who have to make the decision. And to be clear, we need to decide again and again and again and again. We don't just decide once. It's a series of, okay, today I'm deciding for this and I am acting on that decision. And when we act on the decision, we build our faith muscles, right? But if we say, I'm deciding, but I'm going to wait until everything around me is perfect and lined up, we just stay in the same place.
Right.
And so we have those guides, and I love that question, those allies, those mentors, those guides, those coaches, to help us remember who we really are, how capable we are, what our potential is, to help us to take the step in the face of fear. And my belief with the hero's journey is that yes, it's a journey home, but we have changed as a result of the journey, which is really what the journey is all about. It's about our growth and expansion. And once we get home, there's actually another level. It's like, okay,
Yep.
what would I love that to look like now? And the more that we do it, the more we actually create it by design. We consciously create it. And as we expand, as we experience ourselves to be greater, more competent, more confident, more successful than ever before, there's going to be a next level.
It's
So
a
we're
sequel.
it's a sequel. It's a spiral, right? It's this
Yeah.
upward
It's
spiral of becoming.
yes.
And the first couple go arounds the spiral around the spiral super suck because you're learning the process. You're like breaking free from your constraints. You're stretching. And as you continue to work the spiral and continue to expand, you're still going to have challenges, but you know that it works and then you
Right.
know that you can work it.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yes. So, who were some of your allies and guides besides your husband? It sounds like your husband was doing great.
Yeah, we created that. Like not that we didn't have our challenges in our relationship, we have, but we chose to create that. And so I mean, I'm a coach, and so I'm like a certified transformational life coach. I have a master's in counseling and degrees and whatnot. So the certification was really important to me to be bringing something to my clients that is proven and repeatable and reliable so that people
Mhm.
know like okay this actually works, like this is like thousands of people have like used this system and gotten the results that they would love. So that was important to me, and 100% as I invest in myself. So I have my own coaches that I work with,
Right.
right? Because I'm on this edge of becoming. I haven't ever existed at this level of consciousness, this level of awareness, this level of success, right? And so I need those people as well to help me find the way. And of
Right.
course, we're really finding our own way, but they can say this is kind of the path. And then within that path, we're learning how to tune to ourselves about, ooh, this actually piece feels really good. This is like life-giving. This is expansive. This feels juicy and delicious. And this step over here actually makes me contract. And so 100% guides, coaches, mentors, allies, all of them, because we all have, myself included, we all have patterns and paradigms and belief systems about how we exist in this world, about what we're capable of. And they have they have an extremely strong gravitational pull. And
Right.
so if we don't have those people really helping us build a bigger believing, helping us take those steps, helping us make agreement with the truth,
Right.
we're going to default. We're going to default.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It happens every
Yeah.
single time.
Hmm.
Every single time.
Yeah.
So, who are the folks in your life that you might have just struggled a bit explaining why and how you're doing this whole transformational
Mm.
coaching thing? And
Yeah.
isn't that a little weird? And
Woo woo.
really,
Woo woo. Yeah, and Sue, so when I made the decision to invest in getting certified as a coach, this was like in the middle of COVID. My mom had just passed away. Our business was closing, still in that process of closing. My husband was stuck in Africa for 6.5 months. So there was this like
oh my
big
God,
kind of mishmash of things. And
right?
yet in that space, the program that I got certified with came across my lap, and you and everybody knows you can feel it when it's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Feel it when it's right, and then often what happens is you start to talk yourself out of it. So I could feel this like full body, like, oh, these are my people, oh, right. And as soon as I said yes to it, I felt like I want to barf.
Right.
And my limited beliefs were saying, like, and at the time I was a president of my local chamber of commerce, so I was in a pretty high profile position. My paradigms, my limiting beliefs are saying, oh, what are people going to think about this? Isn't this kind of woo woo, right? How are they going to judge you based on what happened with your other business, right? Are they really going to take you seriously?
If
So
you do, is the
yeah,
answer.
right? I love that. As we become solid, and I love your Be the Vibration speaker title, because as we become solid state in the frequency and the vibration of the reality that we are creating, consciously creating and designing, then anything that's not a match to that falls away, and everything that is a match comes into us.
Right. Right. And this is not woo woo, by the way, folks. This is physics.
I was gonna say it's physics,
It's physics.
physics, it's
Our brain,
physics.
our heart, and our gut are putting out electromagnetic
Mhm,
frequencies all the time. And your brain is putting out the electromagnetic frequencies of your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions.
yeah.
Whatever you are strongly holding in
Mm,
your mind is what is being broadcast out of your little radio station.
mhm,
And if you're broadcasting, I suck, I'm no good, life is awful,
mhm.
guess what? The universe is going to try to match that vibration.
100%.
And you're only going to get exactly what matches that.
Yeah.
But if you come at the world going, oh, sunny day, it's awesome, life is good, my clients are awesome, everything is in flow, I rock, my clients rock, the world rocks, no matter what's going on in the world, by
Mhm,
the way, then what you get as a match is everything is in flow. It
mhm,
it's physics. It's
mhm.
the matching the waveform
Yeah.
works. It
Yeah.
really works,
Yeah. Like if you want to call me on my cell phone, you dial my number. You
right?
don't dial just a random number and hope to get me. Like you need to
Yes,
dial into my
yes,
number. And I love that, Sue. And I think so often too, what happens is that like our conscious mind is so tiny in comparison to our subconscious mind, and those limiting beliefs were formed right before the age of 7, before most people, where really was no barrier between our conscious and subconscious mind. And so we've got all of these beliefs going on that we're not even aware of.
Right.
We're
Right.
not even aware of. And what I love about the kind of coaching process that I take people through is when you start with that vision, and again, like you really use your mental faculty of imagination to like really, what would you love? It's a stretch.
Yeah.
It's a stretch. And by design, all of the stuff in your subconscious that is not a match is going to show, hey, what about this? What about that? Because it was there anyway. It was just like under the surface. It was all happy because it was like running the show, right? You're just like this like automaton listening to all of this like limiting stuff underneath you. And so as you actually start to like break free of that and create that vision and really invest some energy into it, right? Because the frequency, you got to match the frequency, and you got to do it consistently. It's not a one and done, right? You have to match the frequency, match the frequency, match the frequency. All of the stuff that's not a match is going to come up to repattern or release.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yep.
just works.
It's physics. Yep. And
Physics.
it's spiritual law. It's physics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same difference.
Same diff, right? Science is just starting to be able to kind of measure what we call spirituality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So part of the process, as I understand it, is a visualization, right, Katherine? And you have something to help people with that.
I do, Sue. Thanks for that. Yeah, I do. I do. So I have a free downloadable guided visualization meditation. It's a 14-minute guided meditation visualization where I actually take you through a process to really start to tune into the whisper, to start to tune into what is it that's seeking to emerge for you in this one wild and precious life. And something that's it works for everybody. So I know that some people can visualize, some people can't visualize. So it works for all of those people. So if you're one of those people, and I don't know why I'm saying this, I feel like there's someone out there who needs to hear it. I'm one of those people. I have aphantasia. I can't actually image, but the image is only there to create the vibration, right? We have the image because it creates the vibrational frequency. So this works for anybody. And so this is really going to support you in really connecting. Okay, well, what would it look like to dream?
Cool. And if you want that, links down here. The link is here. Link will be in the show notes. Link will also be displayed prominently in the afterward, where we're going to show all of Katherine's links.
Fancy technology person.
Yes, I love tech. And so you will be able to get a hold of Katherine, get that visualization, and all the other wonderful things that she has to offer you on your transformational journey. So thank you, Katherine. Oh my God, getting two Hero's Journey nerds together. Joseph Campbell. I'm impressed that we kept this under 2 hours.
I know. I feel like we're just getting warmed up, but we need to respect the time.
Yes, we could just go on and on and on about this. So thank you for being on my show. I so appreciate you.
Thank you, Sue, for having me. And I have so enjoyed this conversation. And for Sue's community people, you can catch her on my podcast as well, My Dead Dragon, where Sue's going to be talking about her hero's journey. So check that out.
Origin stories are so much fun. And thank you to my audience at the Sweet Sound of Success.
your dreams, for your business. You know what drives me crazy? Really smart business owners denying their talents because they've been taught it has to be hard, because they've been taught that they don't deserve their gifts, that they're not worth anything. They've been taught that their gender means they can't express their genius. I'm Sue Wilhite, and I want you to have access to your genius. I want you to go out and rock the world with your genius. So I created the Call to Action Coaching Program. It's all about getting to the heart of you and what you've got to share with the world to make a profitable business that thrives and allows you to make a difference in the world. Click the link to sign up for the Call to Action Coaching Program today. Don't let your genius go unnoticed.